Good morning, lads. It's time. Minecraft Snapshot 23w14a. Among the many things inside of this snapshot, we're looking at enchantment table changes, a ton of sculk changes, very technical, an archaeology change, a menu change, which signifies something big, and lots of bug fixes, in fact, the most. We begin on the menu. Oh, it's so wild, so swampy, so untamed and humid, and oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Welcome to the Minecraft 1.20 menu. Why do they always do this at sunset? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but it's so dark. Like, there's somebody put some torches in the blossoms, please. So yes, lads, that's right. 23w14a kicks things off in a big way with a brand new menu. You get used to it because this is how it's gonna be for probably like 6 months to a year, who knows? Interestingly, on the menu, at the top of the menu, you see that logo right there. Now you see that logo. Now you see this logo, and yeah, you can see what's happening. Minecraft Java logo has updated, and I don't know about you, I do miss the old one already, but I like this clean, modern aesthetic, and I like that they kept the cracked lines on there too. I like this logo. I think it looks good. Now you hang around in this video, because a little bit later on, lads, we'll talk about what that means for 1.20. Oh, and real quick, President Taft has kindly requested that you leave a like on this video. So, yeah. Last week it was a movie, bro. After the vote update and that really strange snapshot that they seemingly removed every feature from in this update. Anyways, I'm energized. And next up, we take a look at Enchanting table because we have a change. And unfortunately, this change doesn't cross over how you think it would. So check this out. I got carpet right here. If I go ahead and remove this, clearly over a level 30 setup. There has been an ancient bug fix in this update that has to do with placeable blocks, basically cutting off the enchantment table from the bookshelf so you don't get the effects. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work with carpet. I don't know what's really going on here. Doesn't also seem to work with torches, so I don't know what they mean by like replaceable blocks. Maybe like, I don't know, flowers? No, not flowers either. Look, maybe the vote update made me dense as a rock or something. Or heck, maybe I've always been like that, but I don't understand this enchantment table change. Like, what's going on? Doesn't work. Really quick, I need you to take a seat because look at this. Whoa. The fixed bugs inside of this pre-release, looking at them all, counting them by hand, we are looking at like literally 70 bug fixes inside of this pre-release. What are they doing? I mean, clearly they're polishing the update, but 70, like that's insane. This is an absurd amount of bug fixes in the snapshot. One of the most popular polishing features this week around has to do with the sniffer. There are so many problems, I guess, or were so many problems with the problematic sniffer. A lot, but not all of the problems with the problematic sniffer had to do with where it would decide to sniff and how it would behave. Sometimes you could hit the sniffer and it would be like, you know, panicking, and then it would decide that now is maybe the best time to sniff. And by sniff or whatever, I don't know what it means because it literally just sniffed. Is this snapshot real? Am I here? Well, at least one that we should be able to check out for sure is the name tag one. And name tags have been fixed. They were sitting way too low on the sniffer before. It was like blending into the model. And at least that's fixed. How about the hitbox? No, they're just never going to make it bigger. Okay. That makes sense. Logically. I still can't get over this digging thing though. The digging thing is absolute perfection. Now perfectly, you set me up for the next one, Pitcher Pod. Can we feed you, please? No. So it seems like we still got a little bit more bug fixing that needs to go on, but at least one new thing here, they consistently breed, and I don't know if you heard that. Replay it. Yeah, the sniffer egg, when it pops out, it quite literally pops out now. It's pretty cool. Directly related to this handsome lad, we also have a couple changes and fixes when it comes to the pitcher pod plant. In last week's snapshot, we saw that this thing actually like works with bone meal now, which is really cool. Check out the sizing. The sizing makes sense for this thing now. Or at least a little bit. It kind of makes sense. Before, if we use bone meal on the top part of this pitcher plant, it would consume the bone meal, but nothing would happen. It pains me to say that unfortunately still, we cannot keep that bottom piece of the plant. That would be so beautiful. And it also pains me to say that, look, like other too tall flowers, you cannot bone meal this thing. Huh. That's weird, right? So you know how I do it. I like to build the snapshot name out of the blocks. This snapshot is a very, very skulky and redstone-y snapshot. You could almost think this is like a wild update snapshot or something. One wild change that is like, it's mind-blowing to me. Yeah, this isn't a dramatization or anything. It's literally mind-blowing to me. The bottom texture of the hopper has been changed. It used to be like, kind of like streaked with lines, if that makes sense. And now it looks like it would be the bottom of a hopper. It's so small, but I think I'm in love. Guys, I think I'm in love for the first time. All right, Redstone, let's take a look at this thing. First things first, the skulk sensor. The default redstone output of the skulk sensor has been adjusted to be a little bit more consistent. It's pretty cool. But maybe the more useful change inside of the snapshot has to do with what it does to the block below. So when this strange alien detects me moving around, of course it takes the vibration in and creates a signal. Previously, it would have weakly powered the block below it, which means if you put like a redstone lamp here, not a problem, it would be powered. However, if you were trying to pull a signal out of this block, it wouldn't work, and now it absolutely does. This small change right here is going to make this thing way more versatile and useful in redstone builds. Maybe for whatever reason, your like bamboo contraption is, taking up space, you can't really run a redstone line from it. Well, it's not a problem, it's powering that block right there. Now, what I would like to find out live and in real time here is the comparator. Does it work like this? I'm not sure if it ever really worked like this before, but okay, we got a line right there. How about if I like walk around over here? Is it knowing? Oh, it's definitely knowing. It's knowing for sure. I don't know if I should be excited about that because I don't know if it was always here, but oh, it's definitely here now. Nice. Take a look at our good friend, the calibrated skulk sensor, sitting up here on top of this hill, looking so handsome, and in fact, I think it's smiling. I'm not sure, but I think it's smiling. Aww. Theoretically, just maybe, if I were to say calibrate this skulk sensor, which I'm not really going to do right now because I don't want to, but if I did calibrate this skulk sensor, it would have a cooldown of 1 second instead of 2 seconds now, making it a little bit faster. The calibrated skulk sensor has also been buffed. It will detect vibrations up to 16 blocks away instead of 8. That is way farther than a plain old skulk sensor if you didn't know. Like, check this out right here. I'm walking around and this calibrated sensor is definitely hearing me and powering the lamp. But meanwhile, this thing, which I'm actually a little bit closer to, does not hear me at all until I get even closer to it. That's crazy. I love this functionality. I mean, this thing was already kind of a buffed skulk sensor with that calibration functionality, but that means you could also use it to detect signals that are farther away now. Or if you're super crafty and clever with this thing, that also means that you could send these whole vibration relay thing, you can send that even farther now. And this mechanic right there, that's actually pretty big. As we discovered in one of the other videos that I posted on these snapshots, more sensors equals more speed. Less sensors equals less speed. With these things having a further range now, you could add more sensors in, or more importantly for this one, less sensors in, making your relay even slower if you wanted to. And finally for this thing is going to accept signals into the calibrated side a lot more consistently now. I believe the calibrated side is this amethyst side. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. Since they've dropped, I've messed around with these things a little bit, but I definitely have more testing to do. Would you guys be into a video just messing with skulk sensors from me? Oh, what's that? You thought we were done with skulk things? We talked about all of it? No, you're so wrong. There's even more skulk changes in the snapshot. I told you it's a wild update snapshot. The skulk shrieker, you know how it is. When you walk around near this thing, you step on it or whatever, it shrieks. Yeah, it's pretty scary. If we go ahead and waterlog this thing, in fact, let me do it this way. Look, the shriek from this thing, it's now silenced. It's screaming right there for sure, but you don't hear the sound. That's the big difference. This means that theoretically, you are ultimate troll. Look at this thing. You could have this thing giving darkness and detecting vibrations, maybe even summoning in the warden. I set up this shrieker right here. I move around near it, and I have this thing submerged in water. I am definitely dealing darkness, which is very, very obvious, but I could be ultimate prankster, set this thing up, and boom, all of a sudden, the warden has popped into the game. And keep in mind that you can waterlog the sensor and make this whole thing silent if you wanted to. Oh God, what have I gotten into? Look, it's the cow, not me. And just about finally, I think for today's redstone stuff in the snapshot, the shrieker is inside of redstone blocks, and the amethyst block with its new functionality is inside of redstone blocks as well. Next up, laddies, we're going on a trip. We're looking at an archaeology and desert pyramid update inside of this update. Over at my local desert pyramid, we have a change in how this thing is actually going to generate now. And oh my gosh, That's literally set up for like an updated guide or something. Oh no. Alright, so if we go ahead and move into this thing in survival Minecraft right here and check it out a little. Moving into this thing, we will find on the floor that the floor is even more cracked than before. Look at all this sand. It's more than ever. And allegedly, oh yes, confirmed, we will always have suspicious sand up on the surface. Definitely hinting at what's going on here. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I like it. It's nice, but I feel like the devs are kind of fixated on the wrong thing here, if I will. I love that this thing is getting an update. It's great, but for the longest time in the game, this thing has been perfectly symmetrical. Tower on both sides, everything like that. If you look at some of the ancient structures this thing might be referencing, also symmetrical. I'm well aware that I'm probably the only one that cares about this at all, but I still really think that this maybe should be symmetrical. You expand the dig site a little bit. Come on, what's the bad thing? You get a couple more shards from it? Like, oh, big deal. You get diamonds? Oh, big deal. I think this thing should be, like, replicated on both sides of the structure. It'd be cool. Anyways, that stuff aside, as far as the rest of this buried room goes, it's all the same. As far as relation to yesterday's video goes, I have to look legally. Inside of the pod, in yesterday's video, we talked all about, there it is, it's still there, this is so weird. What's going on with that texture? I saw a couple comments pointing out that maybe, just by chance, this is related to that whole cracked thing that we don't know about still, so I'm still waiting for that. But how about the camel? Inside of the camel, we had those stray pixels, it was really weird, and, From the looks of things, inside of the camel, that texture has been fixed, but clearly, the spot one is still here. What do you think it means? And speaking of what things might mean, the menus and all of this going on inside of this snapshot. Does this mean 1.20 is close? Relatively, I'd say yes, but also close is a relative term. There are still some pretty notable things missing from 1.20, including possibly that other sniffer plant, maybe archaeology getting polished a little bit more, that cracked pot thing, music, advancements, and potentially even more. If we were looking at, say, a June release date, though, I would say that we're probably on track. And so, Minecraft Snapshot 23w14 today, that is just about it for today. Well, correction, I mean, there are like 70 bug fixes. We go through these if you want next. No? Yeah, I didn't think so. No shot you haven't heard yet, but the vote update snapshot is absolutely gigantic and I'm obsessed with it. If you haven't seen the video from last weekend, definitely check that out next and keep your eyes out for another video on that snapshot. I'm so obsessed with the thing. I'm really into it. Like, subscribe, it's been me, Waddle, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.